Welcome to Blood, Guts, and Booze.
I'm Olivia.
And I'm Kendrah. This is a paranormal and true crime podcast here to frighten you and make you question the world that we live in. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into this. Listener discretion is advised, as these podcasts are not for the faint of heart, nor are they PG.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Hope everybody is surviving all the snow that just randomly keeps happening in Ontario.
Yeah, and one thing I would like to address before we start is if we somehow do have any listeners, I know that we have a few in Russia right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if we have any in the Ukraine, but we just want to give our little tiny Canadian love and support because I know it's kind of scary times right now.
Yeah, and our deepest condolences to the people, the families that are in the Ukraine that have to deal with all of this. I can't imagine. It would be that's so terrifying.
Yes.
I was scared just looking at the news.
I heard that they took over Chernobyl and my heart just sank. I was like, oh my god, that's terrifying.
What the fuck do they want with Chernobyl?
Right? I don't know.
They're probably going to mutate themselves there.
I don't know. But anyways, we want to give our condolences, and we know that things are scary, and we understand we'll probably lose our Russian listeners for a while, but we understand.
Yeah, we just want to let everyone know we're thinking of you. Send in as much love and prayers as we possibly can to all the families out there. You know, it's really scary, so... Blood, Guts, and Booze, we're thinking about you guys. Don't worry.
Yes. So what do you have?
So today I am, unfortunately, gonna be talking a little bit gory.
Yes.
After that, so I am going to be doing a part 2 of Paranormal Games.
Yay!
I thought it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
This game, I only did 1 for this case, this time, instead of 3 like last time. Those ones were a lot shorter,
yes.
But this one has a lot more about it. But I'm going to be talking about the good old Bloody Mary today.
Classic. Such a classic.
I was actually going to try and play it last night, home alone by myself, but I got scared and just went to bed.
Puss.
I know. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. This sentence is the start of one of the most infamous paranormal games out there. You head into your bathroom, light a candle, say her name 3 times while looking into the mirror. What is it that you see in the mirror? Like, do you see Mary herself, or just your face all creepy in the candlelight? I don't know. Have you ever played it?
I'm pretty sure that every 13-year-old girl that was ever at a sleepover played it.
I feel like it's a rite of passage.
Yes.
At
like
sleepovers?
Blue Eyeshadow. Yeah, I've played it at sleepovers and by myself, and to me nothing has ever happened, but I didn't know I was supposed to use a candle, so maybe that's why.
Well, maybe for our listeners and Patreon, we'll play it one evening.
We could play all of them for our Patreon.
We could, realistically.
Yes.
If that's what you guys want. If you guys want to see us play paranormal games and shit ourselves, let us know.
Well, watch Olivia shit herself.
If we're going to end up being like Ryan and Shane from BuzzFeed Unsolved, and I'm going to be Ryan, she's going to be Shane, where I'm going to be the one freaking out.
This is my fucking bridge now.
And then, yeah, exactly. Hey, demon, it's me, your boy.
If you don't respond, Go Man Bridge is mine now.
So, some people say that Bloody Mary kind of looks like an old witch. You're also supposed to spin 3 times if you don't see her.
I didn't know that.
And if you still don't see her, you gotta spin the opposite way. And once you're done, you gotta blow out the candle. Bye, and walk out.
And what if you still don't see her?
I guess it didn't work. I don't know.
All right.
So this game is actually supposed to reveal your future.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know that.
Bloody Mary is known to look like an old, decrepit witch.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes she just looks really mean and evil, depending on whatever story you're kind of going by.
Okay.
She is seen with either a group that does it, or if somebody is about to die and they play the game by themselves. That's kind of creepy.
I always just kind of imagined her face to look like, have you ever seen the movie The Nun?
Yes.
Or at least the pictures for it?
Yes.
That's kind of how I always pictured her face would show up in my mirror.
Yes.
That creepy-ass fucking nun.
That is exactly how you would depict Bloody Mary to show up in your mirror. That's great. So, Bloody Mary actually goes back a lot farther than I thought it would. In the early 20th century, the rules of the game were a little bit different. You would walk up a flight of stairs backwards, holding a candle in one hand and a mirror in the other. And as you peek in the mirror to see what is there, you will either face your future husband or the Grim Reaper himself. And if the Grim Reaper appears, that means you're going to die before you get married.
Oh. Mm-hmm. We should play that version as well.
I don't have stairs.
I do.
Your basement stairs.
Yes. So if we're playing one, we might as well play the other, and we can do her thing in the basement bathroom.
Oh, that's such a nice bath.
Oh my god, I know.
That's a good idea. We should do that.
All right.
So, who is Bloody Mary? There are a handful of women that have kind of inspired the legend and the game of Bloody Mary.
Yeah?
Mary Worth was a woman in the States who was accused and executed of witchcraft.
All right.
Mary Tudor, Mary First of England, had the nickname Bloody Mary for putting people to death for hearsay.
Mm.
And my favorite is Elizabeth Bathory, or the Queen of Blood. Kendra's a little sour right now.
I'm not sour. I love Elizabeth Bathory, okay?
I know.
She is like my favorite female bad guy. Because I won't exactly say because like I'm going to ruin what you're about to tell people.
Yeah.
But she's like my favorite female villain in history.
Well, she was convicted of murder for taking the blood from like hundreds of girls and torturing people.
Mm.
Yeah. Also, trigger warning, talk of torture.
Yeah. She was a nice person. God.
Yep. That's why I'm saving the best for last. So, Bloody Mary Worth was part of the Reverse Underground Railroad in the 1860s. So she was actually leading African Americans on false pretense, thinking that they were going up north to be saved, and she actually would lead them down south, back down south so she could get money.
What a hot... What a bitch.
Mm-hmm. She was also an accused witch. Locals accused her of practicing dark arts and torturing slaves for her rituals.
Burn!
Well, she was eventually lynched on her property.
Good.
So, don't you worry. And some locals believe her to be the inspiration for the game Bloody Mary.
See you next Tuesday is what she is.
It's okay, you can say it. She's a cunt.
If I seen her in my mirror, I'd give her a big old punch.
Oh my god, like in fucking Scary Movie 3 when the ring girl like comes out of the TV and she like punches her in the face.
Breaks her fucking nose. Samira. That's her
Yeah.
name. Never seen that movie, but I always wanted to.
It's okay.
It came out like around the same time as like the Grudge movies. They all came together as like this new Japanese and American horror sort of phase. And I was really into the Grudge
Ring
movies.
is a Japanese movie, but they did an American version.
Same with the Grudge.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It was like that
Yeah,
time
yeah.
when Japanese horror was becoming big in America as remakes and stuff. And I never watched the Ring movies, but I watched the Grudge movies.
I can't do it right now. My throat's all dry.
I used to drive my mom fucking nuts with that sound.
Oh my god, I know. I used to do the same thing. Okay, when I first saw that movie, we were so young when that came out. It fucking terrified.
Terrified my brother, so I used to walk around the house doing it too, or like when it was nighttime I would do it and he would just like freak the fuck out.
And see, he's a little bitch.
Oh my god, he totally is. When we were like in grade 7, okay, the scariest movie I'd seen up until that point was Jurassic Park and Jaws. Like animal
I love
scary
it.
movies, right? And Jurassic Park terrified me as a child. Like it gave me like night terrors for like a year.
That T-Rex is
Yeah.
animatronic, and it is so highly advanced.
So, anyways, we went to this movie. We used to be able to rent VHSs, right? And we went and we rented a VHS to watch. Or it might have been DVDs at this point. Maybe. I'm that old.
Well, it was probably around the time where we were weaning out
Options.
VHS, but like DVDs were getting really big.
Yeah. Anyways, we went and we rented a movie at like, not Blockbuster, but like one of the off
Jumbo
stores. Yeah. Something like that. And,
Well, it used to be, Jumbo Video used to be down the street from your house by 7-Eleven. It used to be beside the old Tim Hortons.
Oh.
It's now an RBC bank.
But anyways, my brother really, really, really wanted to watch the movie Signs. Have you ever
Aliens,
seen
yes.
it? Okay.
Long
And,
time, though.
my brother's also a little bit older than me, for context here. And my dad kept telling him no because he didn't want me to get freaked out by it. And he's like, no, like, you have to pick something that you both agree on. And my brother kept bugging because he wanted to watch this movie. And, you know, his friends had all seen it and blah, 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 and he wanted to see it too. And so finally I just gave in and I was like, okay, but, like, if it gets too freaky, I'm leaving. I don't want to watch it anymore. Whatever. And so we rented it. And I was like, but next time I'm picking. You know, deal. So we watched the movie. And honestly, I didn't really think it was all that scary because it's not. I've seen it in the last few years too. It's no offense, but it's kind of a terrible movie. It's cheesy. And the only part that really freaked me out was, you know, the random alien running across the screen part that freaks everybody out. Because, you know, jump scare. But anyways, it really didn't bug me all that much. I was just kind of like, meh, that was a boring movie. So we go to bed.
It's much better reenacted in Scary Movie 3.
So we go to bed, because, you know, we have bedtime and things. And at this point in time, we lived in the country.
Okay.
And not far from our house, very, very close, almost next door, was a cornfield. And my brother started crying like a little bitch because we lived next to a cornfield and he was afraid that aliens were going to come and go into the cornfield and kill him and steal him and cause crop circles. And has there ever been a crop circle there? And I was just like, go to bed. I'm tired.
This was when you were in grade 7?
Yeah, like 6 or 7.
Oh my god.
Because at this point we lived in Putnam, Ontario.
The scariest movie I had seen by grade 7. Kind of scary, more gory. No wonder why I'm so desensitized. It was House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, it was grade 8 when I watched that one.
Good fucking movie. Rob Zombie's good, man.
Yeah, it was grade 8 when I watched that one for the first time, and I was just like hooked. That's when, but I realized
Watched it with our good friend Ariel.
I watched it with my best friend Sarah in her basement.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Sarah, because I know that you listen out there in out west of Canada,
Ooh.
and I know that you get all of your friends to listen to us, and that's why our numbers are so big out in Alberta. So thank you.
Yeah, and shout out to Ariel for, she sometimes listens. I get it, she's a mom.
Whatever.
It's
Hi, Ariel.
It's fine. I've known her since I've been 4, so whatever.
Hello, Ariel.
Hello. So next we're going to talk about Mary Tudor. She was the daughter of King Henry VIII.
Ooh.
Her father had many suitors trying for a male heir because her mom had died. And he had remarried a lot. And because her dad was trying so hard for a male heir, it really worried Mary. But eventually she ended up becoming the queen anyways in 1553. Long time ago.
Women. Hello.
She gained her nickname Bloody Mary during her rule. For hundreds of Protestants were burned at the stake for being disbelievers of her religion. Shun the non-believers. They didn't want to follow her, the Catholic religion, right?
Play it on, Charlie.
Let's go to Candy Mount, Charlie.
They finally put that sound on TikTok. I'm so happy.
So hundreds of people died in a failed protest. That was led by Sir Thomas Wyatt the Younger.
What a name.
Queen Mary's reign only lasted about 5 years and ended in 1558 when she had passed away from cancer.
That stinks.
So now we're going to get to the fun one.
The Queen of Horror.
Elizabeth Bathory.
Praise. Praise.
So Elizabeth was a rich and influential noblewoman. Her uncle was the King of Poland, and her nephew was the King of Transylvania. Elizabeth was born August 7th of 1560. I am so sorry. I am not going to be able to pronounce this properly because I forgot to look up the pronunciation. And I don't know if the N is silent or not. So I don't know if it's like Nairbatter or if it's like Irbatter. Hungary. My bad. Hungry. I'm hungry.
But it's Hungary.
I know.
Hungary?
Hungary.
I've always pronounced it Hungary.
Hungary.
Hungary. Like Hungarian.
I know.
Hungary.
Hungary.
Hungary. I don't know. Fuck it.
I'm sorry, we're trying.
We love you, Hungary.
By 11, she was extremely well educated, which is very impressive. Woo! At that age in the 1500s.
Yeah.
And she was considered to be a beautiful suitor for everyone.
Smart and pretty.
In this case, she was smart and beautiful. Our babies will be smart and beautiful. Big Bang Theory. And she actually got engaged to Count Ferenc Nadasi.
Okay. Sure.
On May 8th, 1575, at the age of 15, Elizabeth then married the Count, and they had their first child in 1585. They had a total of 5 children. 2 had passed as babies, and 2 girls and a boy had survived into adulthood.
Yay! That's decent odds for back then.
Yeah. The Count was a soldier, and he was fighting the Ottoman Turks. So they were actually separated for a lot of their marriage. The Count had died in 1604, and Elizabeth then took over the estate.
Atta girl.
So the crimes that Elizabeth committed were absolutely horrendous. I only went into a small list of what she had done, but there was no limitations, I think, at her torturing.
Maybe one day I will cover her fully.
Yeah.
And express my love for her.
Yeah, in my case now, it's just, I had to compact as much as I could, so.
Just wait till next week how excited I get when I'm talking. Oh my god.
Kendra's probably going to cream herself on the next, 2 episodes.
I'm finally doing my favorite Big Five.
And she's currently creaming herself now, too.
You're going to have to wash this chair.
I'm going to have to wash the pillow.
Oh, no. The whole chair.
Where's the Lysol at? Weird. Some of Elizabeth's victims were stripped and forced to sit inside of ice baths while being left outside in freezing temperatures.
That's not bad.
That's kind of more of the
so vanilla.
lighter stuff of vanilla fucking crazy. Others were covered in honey and left outside for the insects to munch on. She would whip young girls with stinging nettles.
What is a nettle?
It is a plant, and it causes burns. Hold on. We will also put on the Instagram a picture of what the stinging nettle looks like.
Nice.
Stinging nettle. First thing on Google. So it's just like a random little plant.
Okay.
So Google says stinging nettle, Urtica doyaka, I'm not even going to try anymore, is a plant with pointed leaves and white to yellowish flowers. The root and above ground parts are used for diabetes.
Oh!
The stinging nettle plant is typically 2 to 4 meters tall. It contains ingredients that might decrease swelling and increase urination.
So is that where insulin comes from?
Possibly. This plant is mildly toxic to humans and to pets, causing skin reactions, mouth, throat irritations when touched or eaten. So they probably have to do scientific,
Dilute something.
biology, chemistry stuff to separate what they need from the plant for diabetes.
It's cool how certain plants do certain things. And that it's just discovered by accident. My favorite accidental...
Penicillin?
Yeah, my favorite accidental
And
invention
it's Canadian.
is penicillin, because dude was just too fucking lazy to clean up after himself.
And
he's
it
like,
just-
fuck it, I'll clean tomorrow, and came back and went, oh look, I invented penicillin.
Yeah, all from mold.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? She would also, cut their lips, their nose, their faces. Oh. She would put needles into their fingers. Yeah. And weird. But everyone also has their kinks, I guess, to each their own. She would bite her victims, like their shoulders and breasts.
Jump.
Some victims also suffered burning flesh all over their bodies, and yes, this also includes genitalia.
Yeah.
Elizabeth would bathe in the blood from the virgins that she had tortured and killed. Oh my god, that was... that was so creepy.
This is why I love her so much, is this part.
She believed that bathing in their blood would help, retain her youth.
Bathe in the blood of virgins so I can stay beautiful.
Exactly. I'm
so tired. I'm sorry.
We're both real tired. It is believed that her husband may have taught her like torturing tips 101 while they were together. Because he was a soldier. I'm sure, PTSD works in crazy ways.
Yes.
Elizabeth was caught December 29th, the day after my birthday, 1610.
I didn't know you were that old.
I'm old as fuck. I'm a vampire.
Do you blood... Or do you bathe in the blood of virgins to stay youthful?
No, I just drink the blood of virgins to stay youthful.
Oh.
I'm a vampire.
Oh, then you should drink the blood of cows.
Like the littlest vampire?
Yes, I was so hoping you'd get it. It's the most adorable.
It's so adorable.
But like, no one's ever heard of it.
Okay, if anybody who listens to us, if you have heard of the littlest vampire, DM us. Email us at bloodgutsandbooze@gmail.com. If you do, and you have, I don't know what we'll do, but we'll give you a shout out.
Oh, little Jonathan Lipnicki.
Wasn't he Stuart Little? Like in Stuart Little? Yeah.
And then the... It's from the movie. If he just whistles, then the vampires will hear him and come help him.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
I watched it so many times as a kid. That and The Secret Garden.
Oh, that's a good movie. I haven't seen that in a long time either. So, Elizabeth was caught by her own cousin, Count Gorgi Thurzo. I am so sorry if I mispronounced that. Who took over all justice matters as he was a lord in Hungary. He had actually surprised Elizabeth at her castle when he came to investigate the alleged crimes. And Akutako Elizabeth was in the middle of torturing somebody when he showed up.
Well, damn.
So, because they actually legit had eyewitness proof at this point, she was imprisoned immediately. She was locked away in her house and actually never even put on trial. This was because of her status. She wouldn't be trialed like other criminals. 4 of her servants, 3 females and a male, were also arrested and convicted for the murders. 3 of them were immediately sentenced to death, and it had been carried out right then and there. It is unknown what had happened to the 4th servant who was convicted. Elizabeth died in 1614 after 4 years of imprisonment inside of her house. There were 289 statements from eyewitnesses collected by her cousin. And it is said that Elizabeth had killed over 650 people.
Yeah, she's a fucking
Psycho.
Mass murderer. You can't just get those kind of numbers nowadays, okay?
Yeah. Well,
who else got that kind of number? Nobody.
Maybe.
She the best.
Well, okay. I was gonna say this one other woman, but, so a quick few fun facts. Real quick, going back to how Elizabeth killed 650 people, she is actually the biggest female serial killer in the Guinness World Record.
Yeah.
It's official. There's nobody that's gonna beat her unless there's someone out there right now.
And it's so much harder to be a serial killer nowadays. Everyone keeps escaping.
Well, it's funny that you say that because there's also an online escape room called Bloody Mary.
We could do that too in our video. All 3.
Candyman, the movie, had inspiration from the paranormal game Bloody Mary.
Oh, I figured that the game, the Candyman, came first.
Well, I'm sure it was a combination of both. But
Men
I believe
just needing their own version.
it's the same kind of concept. You say Candyman
three times in a mirror,
kind of thing,
and
yeah.
he appears.
So going back to when I mentioned Bloody Mary, when you have to look through mirrors for it, the term for that is called catotromancy.
Oh.
Catotromancy is the spiritual work with mirrors.
I used to have a friend that was terrified of my giant mirror in my front, room there, because I had got it from Goodwill, and I'd never had it blessed, and so it terrified the shit out of her, because it was 2 of her in size-wise, and she's like, you've never had this blessed, you could be bringing bad omens into your house. I was like, no, my ghost is just Fred, he's cool.
It's probably because mirrors are said to be portals.
Well, that's what she said. So I pulled up my Ouija board in front of her, and I was like, hello,
Wanna see?
hello, turned it on, and then I was like, hey, fuck you, and then I just closed it, and she was just losing her shit, and it was great.
So I'm never using a Ouija board with Kendrah. Just so everyone's aware. There is a cocktail called the Bloody Mary.
Yes.
Which contains 1.5 ounce of vodka, 3/4 cup spicy tomato juice cocktail, 2 dashes of Worcestershire sauce. I'm British and I can't even fucking say that word. And I am so sorry for any
Horsey sauce.
I
That's
am
what I call it.
so sorry to any of our UK listeners.
That live in Worcestershire?
Worcestershire. I'm so sorry.
This is a word no one ever can pronounce.
1 dash of hot sauce, a dash of salt and pepper, 1 celery stalk, and 2 stuffed green olives.
I didn't know there was olives in it.
Olives are gross.
Yeah, they are. Ugh. I've always wanted to try one, but now that I know there's olives, ew.
Well, it's on a
Stick?
Yeah.
I would just throw it at somebody.
I just give it to Nick. Nick likes olives. He's gross. Ugh. The history behind the creation of the cocktail is said to be, it's up in the air between 2 different people. One is Fernand Petiot in the 1920s while working at Harry's New York bar in Paris. The other is George Jessel, who in the 1920s to 50s was a Hollywood star and is called his favorite drink of vodka and tomato juice the Bloody Mary.
Interesting.
And Elizabeth's castle, Kachis, is currently located in Slovakia.
I want to go there.
Yes. So, what do you have? Sorry, that's my case.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any of our listeners have ever played Bloody Mary. If you have, let us know. I want to know your experience.
Have you seen her?
Yeah, what did you see when you played it?
Did Elizabeth come to you, teach me how to talk to her?
Well, go to her castle.
One day I aspire to be her.
Oh my God, Kendrah.
I'm kidding.
I'm gonna be her first victim. If anybody...
Who says you're my first?
Alright, so...
You know it's weird I never let you in my basement, right?
I've been in your basement.
Not in the freezer.
True. Don't really go in your laundry room.
No. You ever wonder why? Now you do. Anyways.
Long pig.
Anyways.
That's what your freezer's
I don't
for,
eat it.
isn't it?
I don't eat it.
Oh, you just...
No, I just keep bones.
Oh, okay.
I make wind chimes.
Rattle, rattle.
Wind chimes.
Oh, can I have one?
Maybe.
What's your Etsy store?
Blood, guts, and booze.
So,
Okay.
what do you have for us today?
Before we do get started, I do have a correction to make from last week's episode.
Oh.
If you listen to my Chelsea Grin story, I apparently remembered it wrong. I did not get a boot in the face. I actually face planted the metal railing.
Oh.
That's why it was so swollen and bloody, because I bit into the railing and smashed my mouth. Anyways.
Wouldn't surprise me if you also had a boot in your face as well.
Probably. But anyways, this week I will be traveling to Oklahoma for my first time to talk about the Oklahoma City bombing. I'm assuming that you know this one, Olivia?
Yes, I have heard of it.
So let's dive in. On Wednesday, April 19th, 1995, at 9:02 a.m., a truck filled with over 4,800 pounds of ammonium nitrate fertilizer, nitromethane, and diesel fuel mixture exploded in front of the north side of the 9-story Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
But why?
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
Let's start with the man behind the attack. Timothy James McVeigh was born April 23rd, 1968 in Lockport, New York. He was the middle child of 2 sisters. His parents divorced when he was 10, and he was then raised by his father in Pendleton, New York. Timothy was bullied in school and began fantasizing about an imaginary world where he retaliated against his bullies. He was an outgoing and playful child, but became shy and withdrawn in adolescence. In high school, Timothy became interested in computers and hacked into the government computer systems on his Commodore 64 until under the handle The Wanderer. In his senior year, he was even named Most Promising Computer Programmer. He was introduced to firearms by his grandfather. He told people that his dream was to become a gun shop owner and even brought guns to school to impress his classmates. He became extremely interested in gun rights and the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution, which is the right to keep and bear arms. He briefly attended college, but dropped out, and afterwards he began working as an armored car guard. His coworkers described him as being obsessed with guns. In May 1998, at age 20, Timothy joined the Army. He attended basic training at Fort Benning in Georgia. He spent his time reading about firearms, sniper attacks, and explosives. He was the top scoring gunner with the 25mm cannon and was promoted to sergeant. After his promotion, he earned a reputation of assigning undesirable work to black servicemen and using racial slurs. He was deployed on Operation Desert Storm.
Okay.
While serving, he earned several awards, including the Bronze Star Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Southwest Asia Service Medal, Army Service Ribbon, and the Kuwaiti Liberation Medal. He eventually decided to leave the Army and was honorably discharged in 1991. After leaving the Army, Timothy began writing letters to newspapers complaining about taxes. He also wrote a letter complaining about the arrest of a woman who was carrying mace, because she should be allowed to carry mace. He also started to become extremely paranoid. He told friends that he believed that the Army had implanted a chip into his buttocks so that the government could track him.
Okay, wait. Does he think they're fucking aliens or something? Like,
Yeah.
they probed him?
Like how the COVID vaccine is actually a chip.
Hey man, I got great 5G. Great 5G.
He became angry about not being able to find a romantic relationship and also became a gambling addict. With this, he had extreme gambling debt that he was unable to pay off. Timothy then moved into an apartment without a telephone. This made it impossible for his employer to contact him for overtime hours, which he needed to pay off his debts. Next, Timothy quit the NRA, believing that it was too weak on gun rights. So he's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Then in 1993, Timothy drove to Waco, Texas during the Waco siege to show his support. He distributed pro-gun rights literature and bumper stickers with the slogan, "When guns are outlawed, I become an outlaw." Now, for those who don't know what the Waco Siege is, I will give a quick description, but I do plan on covering it next month, so I don't want to go into too much detail. Do you know what Waco is?
I've heard of it.
Okay. So the Waco Siege, also known as the Waco Massacre, was a law enforcement siege on the religious sect or cult, Branch Davidians. The law had a search warrant for guns and drugs, but the leader, David Koresh, refused to let them in. A gunfight began, and the siege lasted 51 days before ending very badly.
Ooh.
So his obsession with guns and being anti-government grew immensely after the Waco Siege. He traveled for a while, doing gun shows and stuff, and eventually ended up on a farm in Michigan with a former roommate, Terry Nichols.
Okay.
Terry and his brother were also super invested in the Waco Siege and government conspiracies.
I totally thought you said his name was like Nickel.
Oh.
Oh my god, that's so funny. I was like, oh, that's such a cool, funny last name.
Nichols. Like
Nicholas without the A.
Yeah. Kinda. So they began teaching Timothy how to make explosives out of household chemicals. And honestly, it's super easy. Timothy was obsessed with Waco and believed part of it was a cover-up and wanted to take action against the government. He became enraged and unstable in his thinking. He then began making pipe bombs and other small explosives. Pipe bombs. Oh my god. The government imposed new firearm restrictions in 1994, which Timothy believed threatened his livelihood. He then began getting really, really into conspiracy theories and figuring out if they were true or not. He thought that it was like his mission to do that. He even visited Area 51 in order to defy government restrictions about photography, along with a few other places. Around this time, Timothy and Terry began making bulk purchases of ammonium nitrate. And Timothy then told Terry about his plan to blow up a government building. Terry wanted nothing to do with it, but he did change his mind. On September 22nd, 1994, Terry and Timothy rented a storage unit and began gathering supplies for the truck bomb that they were planning on making. In late September or early October, the pair stole dynamite and blasting caps from a local quarry. And then in March 1995, Terry bought the diesel fuel. On April 16th, the pair drove to Oklahoma City to drop off the getaway car. On April 18th, Terry helped Timothy prepare the truck bomb at a nearby lake. And on the morning of April 19th, Terry drove the truck and parked it in front of the Alfred P. Mira Federal Building in downtown Oklahoma City. Timothy got out, locked the doors, and headed towards his getaway car. He ignited a timed fuse and then another. At precisely 9:02 a.m., 2 a.m. At precisely 9:02 a.m., the bomb exploded.
Ooh.
A third of the building was gone, reduced to rubble or floors flattened.
Oh shit.
Dozens of cars were incinerated, and more than 300 nearby buildings were damaged or destroyed.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, it was a hell of a fucking bomb.
Literally, he wanted this to go out with a bang.
Mm-hmm.
Holy
168 fuck. People died.
Oh my god.
19 of them were children, as there was a daycare in the building.
Oh no!
Yes. Several hundred more were injured. Approximately 700 people. Because it was only 2 years after the World Trade Center bombing, many Americans believed that it was another Middle Eastern terrorist attack.
Yep.
And I want to make it very clear that that's not 9/11. That's the van attack. When someone took a bomb and drove it into the parking lot of the World Trade Center.
Okay.
Yes. Because I myself got confused reading that, and I was like, wait, this isn't the right time. And then I realized and had to look it up. Many Americans believed that it was another Middle Eastern terrorist attack, but the FBI quickly got involved and began their work on figuring out who was really behind it. So on April 20th, the rear axle from the truck, 2 days after, was found in the debris. It had a vehicle identification number on it that was traced to a body shop in Junction City, Kansas. Employees at the shop were able to quickly help the FBI put together a composite sketch of the subject. Agents then showed the sketch around the town, and local hotel employees supplied the name Tim McVeigh. Quick. On April 21st, agents called the Bureau's Criminal Justice Information Services Division in West Virginia, and plot twist, Tim was already in jail. Tim had been pulled over about 80 miles or about 128 kilometers north of Oklahoma City by a state trooper who noticed a missing license plate on his Mercury. Tim had a concealed weapon and was arrested, and this was only 90 minutes after the bombing. So, it's because he's a dumb. I wait for every episode that I can possibly say that. Evidence quickly built up. There was trace evidence of the chemicals used in the explosion on Timothy's clothing. They also found a business card that Timothy wrote on that said, TNT at $5 a stick, need more. They then learned about his anger problems and extremist views, along with his anger over Waco. They then learned that Timothy's friend Terry had helped build the bomb.
Oh, jeez.
So later, same day on April 21st, Terry Nichols learned that he was wanted for questioning. He, though, turned himself in and consented to a search of his home. The search turned up blasting caps, detonating cords, ground ammunition, nitrate, that's all wrong. The search turned up blasting caps, detonating cords.
Detonating corns? Holy fuck!
And this time, before I said ammunition. The search turned up blasting caps, detonating cords, ground ammonium nitrate, barrels made from plastic where fragments found at the bombing site were a match, 33 firearms, anti-government literature, a receipt for ammonium nitrate with Timothy McVeigh's fingerprints on it, a telephone card Timothy had used while shopping for bomb-making equipment, and a hand-drawn map of downtown Oklahoma City.
Oh, no.
It's kind of hard to pretend you didn't do it. Because y'all are dumbs. So Terry was held as a material witness to the bombing until he was officially charged on May 10th. Then on August 10th, Timothy McVeigh was indicted on 11 federal counts, including conspiracy to use a weapon of mass destruction, use of a weapon of mass destruction, destruction with the use of explosives, and 8 counts of first-degree murder for the death of 8 law enforcement officers that were in the building. Psychiatrists determined that he had major depressive, narcissistic personality, and schizotypal personality disorders. His case was transferred from Oklahoma City to Denver on February 20th, 1996, because, I'm sure it would be pretty hard to find a fair trial in Oklahoma City.
I was also starting to think that he had, some sort of schizo
Yeah.
something.
The way he's
Or,
paranoid?
Yeah, or even, I know there's... I'm not trying to, self-diagnose him, but I know there's a type of, bipolar where you have, the grand delusions, right? And, you get kind of paranoid and shit. Kind of like what Kanye West is going through right the fuck now.
Manic.
I was also thinking something like that, too. He was just in a manic state.
Yeah. Yeah, mental illness is scary.
They are. It's crazy how it affects people.
Mm-hmm. And then shit like this happens.
Mm-hmm.
On June 2nd, 1997, Timothy McVeigh was found guilty on all 11 counts of the federal indictment. He was not charged for the other 160 people who were killed that day because those fell under state law, not federal. He was also charged with conspiracy to use a weapon of mass destruction and destroying a federal building, which I didn't even know was a charge. On June 13th, the jury recommended that Timothy receive the death penalty. Now, because Timothy was sentenced to death, Oklahoma State did not file murder charges for the remaining 160 people, which I get that a lot of people want those charges to still be laid, but I understand not doing it because then
He's
you're
already
not... He's already...
sentenced to death. What's the worst? What more can he have, right?
Exactly. He's already given the death penalty, and all you're going to do is drag that on further for the families.
Well, not just that, but that's also a lot of extra state and, like...
Money.
Federal money that's being, spent over something that they already know he's already going to be sentenced to death for.
Yeah. So on... after the appeal and a transfer, Timothy's execution date was set on June 11th, 2001 at 7:14 a.m. Timothy was executed by lethal injection. In a federal trial in 1997, Terry Nichols was convicted of conspiracy to use a weapon of mass destruction and 8 counts of involuntary manslaughter. He wasn't charged with it fully because he was not technically there when it happened. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole after the jury was deadlocked on the death penalty. He was later tried in Oklahoma on state charges of murder in connection with the bombing. He was convicted of 161 counts of first-degree murder.
Damn.
Including one count of fetal homicide.
Oh.
First-degree arson and conspiracy. Again, the jury deadlocked on the death penalty. So he was sentenced to 161 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole.
So they basically used, instead of having, what's his face?
Timothy.
Tim. With, oh my god, I'm blanking right now. So basically, instead of Tim, because he already had the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense why they gave him the first degree charges, because he's still, he hadn't been convicted yet. And so it's like, especially when Tim's already going to jail, there's nothing worse you can give him other than death,
Yeah.
when he goes to death. So I get why they did that with him.
So I do have some trivia. At the end of his life, Timothy claimed that the U.S. government was the ultimate bully. Timothy came from an Irish-American family. His great-great-grandfather came to America from Ireland in 1866 and settled in the Niagara region. Timothy was once reprimanded in the army for buying a White Power t-shirt at a Ku Klux Klan rally.
I just rolled my eyes so hard that I think they just dislocated out of my head.
Before his execution, Timothy said that he decapitated an Iraqi soldier with cannon fire on his first day in the war and then celebrated.
Oh!
Timothy once considered buying property in Seligman, Arizona, which he believed to be a place where nuclear attacks were not going to happen. He called it a nuclear-free zone. He had a map of America where he determined where nuclear attacks were most likely to happen. Timothy experimented with cannabis and methamphetamine. Terry was home with his family when the bomb went off. Timothy later stated that if he had known that there was a daycare in the building, he may have chosen differently. But yet, Terry later stated after that they were both fully aware and did not care.
He was just trying to get some pity points for himself.
During the investigation, the FBI conducted more than 28,000 interviews. Timothy's last meal was 2 pints of mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Of all the ice cream.
I know, my favorite. He had to ruin it. And my favorite little fun fact here. Terry is currently incarcerated at ADX Florence, which is a maximum security prison near Florence, Colorado. Timothy was also in the cell block before his execution. He shares a cell block that is commonly referred to as, quote, Bomber's Row.
Oh.
With Ramzi Youssef, who was one of the main perpetrators of the 1993 World Trade Center truck bombing, and Eric Rudolph, who was also known as the Olympic Park Bomber. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, was also in this cell block before being moved due to health issues to somewhere else.
Huh.
Yeah, I was unaware that there was like a place where all the bombers kind of go.
Well, I'm sure they strategically plan out, especially maximum security prisons. They probably, I feel like they shouldn't group people together like that, but I get it.
Maybe it's just easier to keep track of them all at once.
It's like, here's all the bombers, here's all the serial killers, here's all the pedophiles.
They actually do that, though. They'll put serial killers in a certain spot.
Oh,
and pedophiles in a certain spot.
Well, they probably because they know if a pedophile is near a serial killer,
serial killer's
going to kill the pedophile for being a pedophile, because it doesn't matter what crime you did in prison, those people do not like when shit happens to kids.
Nope.
At all.
Nope. So anyways, that is my case.
That was interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was more than you actually knew, but
well, I have heard Oklahoma bombing on other podcasts as well, but I'm sure there was stuff that I heard. It's been a while since I've heard the case. I don't think I knew about the mint chocolate chip ice cream, which is one of my least favorite ice creams.
I'm starting to try and find all of their last meals because I think that's cool.
It is cool because I know some people just go crazy with their last meal,
and some of them will eat like a single olive.
Yeah, it's like all I want is a single French fry. Which who the fuck wants a single French fry? Give me a family pack from McDonald's.
I want some popcorn chicken from KFC, McDonald's French fries with some Taco Bell tacos, and New York cheesecake for dessert, along with 16 monsters. Because I told Ron,
die of a heart attack before you get
I told Ron that if it ever happens and I'm ever in prison on death row, that I'm gonna ask for my last meal to be 20 fucking energy drinks, because then I'll just have a fucking heart attack before I go in there, and it's done.
You don't have to worry about anything. You did
and
it
I
to
die
yourself.
on my terms.
Fuck you. You can't kill me when you want to. I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah, I'm not allergic to food, so it's not like I can order a peanut butter sandwich.
For my last meal, I think I'd also have to go with Taco Bell, but I want chalupas.
I'd want the Mexican pizza.
So fucking good.
Make me a fucking Mexican pizza.
I would probably want an entire shrimp tray. Some deep fried scallops, because they're fucking delicious.
Oh, and my mom's chocolate chip cookies.
I can see your mom making just a batch of cookies for you when you're not.
She totally would.
She'd be like,
She
you know
totally
what?
would.
She'd give you a kiss on your head. You're doing great, bud. Gives you the cookies.
Nah, she'd probably tell me I'm a
sport.
shithead.
You can do it, shithead.
She'd come in and beat me with the plate.
You want your cookies? Dumps them in front of you. Bam!
Depends what I was in prison for. If I killed a pedophile, she'd be like, there's a key in there. But, if I had done something stupid where it was why the fuck are you here? You're dumb, or something terrible, I had accidentally run over a child or something. She'd be like, listen, I brought a frying pan and I'm not afraid to fucking use it, lady.
Crack!
Yeah.
I would also want 3 large ice caps from Tim Hortons.
Ooh, and a fresh crab from Nova Scotia.
I want a bunch of seafood, because I see food and I eat it and I want it. And I want Red Lobster years ago had this seafood mac and cheese, and it was lobster and crab. Oh my god, so fucking good.
I would just want crab legs.
And some buffalo hot wings.
Ugh.
Smothered in hot sauce with a whole bottle of Hidden Valley on the side, and some deep fried pickles.
I would also want to make Kendrah.
I would probably eat all that so fast, I would probably throw it all up. And I'd be like, I'm ready.
But I mean, really, at that point, why can't you just overgorge yourself? Like, most of the time you stop. But you're like, no, I would just keep eating and eating and eating until I bursted.
I would also ask for probably about an ounce of weed so I could help myself finish eating all of it. Because I could go through that real fast.
Weed can sometimes give me seizures, so why not? I'll take some too.
Yeah.
A little bit of meth, why not? Never tried it before.
Yeah,
Might as well on my last day.
Might as well.
Why not? You know, they always say meth, not even once, but if I'm being executed in an hour, I'm gonna try fucking meth. That's the only time I will ever do meth in my life, is if I'm being executed in an hour.
Same.
I'll do it right with the fucking priest. Sup, bro?
Anyways, on that note, have a great week, everybody.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Special thanks to Dylan Sears for the theme song and Sally Gunter for the cover art. Support us on Patreon and like, share, rate, and subscribe to us on all of our social media pages and your podcast streaming service. Do you have any personal stories or suggestions for the show? Email us at bloodgutsandbooze@gmail.com.